national, regional data. It was pretty impressive what happened there. So this is another popular one that people love that came out of some of our research group. That we looked at British Airways, we thought we had a problem with junior doctors booking patients to the OR and actually getting all the things that they needed done on time and getting the patient to the OR on time. We thought, well, let's have a boarding card. So you have to have these things done and you have a time when the patient has to be there and everybody's going to sign up to this. And it's gimmicky, but it's actually really taken off. Most hospitals in the UK use this now. They really like it. And it came out of one of our surgical registrars or fellows had done a project looking at ideas from industry. And then there's just walking the process. All of you know about this, that if you walk around, understand, you come up with some ideas. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Patient and Family Centred Care website. Those of you at the back are, I know. But if you need a resource about going and shadowing patients, they use medical, this is University of Pittsburgh, they use medical students and nursing students. So it not only educates the students, but they really, really understand what's happening along those patient pathways. Variation. Again, we've got variation here in the way we deliver blood pressure control, cardiovascular metrics, diabetes care. So what can we learn from not only sort of saying to the people who are low performers, what should you be doing better, but what are the best high performers doing? And what are they doing differently that we can learn from? And it's highly likely that, again, it's not just about the money, it's the way they're doing it. And how can we make that change happen for us? Just thinking about Deming's system of profound knowledge, the understanding your system, the psychology of the people in it, understanding your variation in the knowledge, and all these things to make change happen. The complexity of it. Looking and thinking about why is it happening like this? What can we do differently? Asking why 5 times. Getting the lens of somebody who's new to the system and looking at it differently. And I mean, I like this slide because we're starting to really see a movement now, particularly with bright young medical students, when they're really questioning why are we working on the technology of the 1970s in hospitals with the way we communicate among staff when I use my iPad or my iPhone every day for something. So actually, we've got a medical student at USC who's just taken time out to work with Leslie Saxon on digital technology. In the UK, the government's just set up an entrepreneur program for junior doctors or nurses, anybody, because they're losing so many people from healthcare into technology. And I believe I heard some statistics, there's a really significant number of Stanford's medical student class are not actually practicing as doctors, but going into work in the tech industry. So how can we harness those ideas better to really make change happen? At the moment, I think there's a lot of talk and not so much achievable change, but I think that's going to be different over the next few years. And then that ask why 5 times, that lean thing. Why does it have to be like this? Why can't we make it different? Number 6, tools. Using tools in your improvement. Have a quality improvement methodology and use it. I just mentioned briefly some things I like, driver diagrams, segmenting your population, understanding which part of the population this approach will be most effective in, and the use of bundles. There's the Academy of Medical Royal Colleges thought this was so important they issued a whole book on this in 2014, and IHI have a paper on comparing lean and quality improvement. And I think it's important, I think people get confused about which is which. I think basically use one that works for you and you're familiar with. That's the NHS improvement model. I can give you this as the slide. It's just to say, think about your improvement methodology, how you deliver it, your measurement, the drivers in your system, are they aligned? That's one of the things with payment actually, is it aligned to achieve change? Engaging people to mobilise, your leadership and your spread. And this is slightly borrowed from Richard Scoville, one of the IHI improvement advisors, but I really like driver diagrams. I think they're a very, very good way of structuring your thinking. And with the emergency surgery work, that was one of the ways we affected change, by thinking about, simplistically, what happens before the surgery, what happens during the surgery, and what happens after surgery. Very simple, but it was a bit of a paradigm shift in thinking about how we make change happen. And you can, this is very pertinent for January, you know, how do I go from this to this? With your change package and that structure. I think that if people are new to quality improvement, getting them started on thinking about a driver diagram is a very good way to make them try to think systematically. So, bundles. I'm a big fan of bundles. I know they're being used differently now, the term, you know, the bundles of the 90-day, 180-day, but if you look at the clear definition of how this all started, you look at the paper on the IHI website from Roger Rezar, it's 3 to 5 things. And the point of a bundle is that it's getting the team to work together to achieve change on those 3 to 5 things that will make the difference. And the 3 to 5 things should be evidence-based and yes or no. There should be an all or nothing. Yes, we check the patient's blood pressure. Yes, we check their blood sugar. Yes or no. And so the effectiveness is about organising the team to make that happen 95% of the time. So this is, sepsis work is very hard. And this is a big study from the intensive care medicine, the sepsis campaign. And you can see that as your bundle compliance goes up, lo and behold, your mortality goes down. So it's kind of like, it's not surprising. You do the things right, things get better. The sepsis is really hard because CMS has now got 37 steps in the CMS metrics, so it's almost, you know, puts you off at the beginning because it's so hard to do well on that. But we did work with our ICUs again. This is across 18 hospitals, and this is the average. The yellow is the average. As we got to the average unit doing very well with compliance with the central line bundle, we got down to no central line infections. This is Scottish data. Scotland took about 3 years to get there. In the southwest of England, we did it in less than 2, because we learned from what Scotland had done, basically. But we like to brag about that. This is the work, again, that fed into that Harvard Prize. We just decided that, again, there was 5 or 6 simple things that we should do for these emergency surgery patients. We called it ELP-QUIC. And basically, we started here, our mortality was quite high, and then we saw a shift down to 5% mortality, which we'd never seen before. And that's been sustained not only in our hospital, but in a lot of other hospitals across the country. We published that paper in the British Journal of Surgery, and highly statistically significant lives saved. Just implementation of a bundle, but ultimately achieving change across large scale. That was what that was for. Number 7, you all know this, PDSA cycles, test your ideas. Testing is doing. I saw the Danes were particularly good at having a lot of meetings and trying to avoid getting around to actually doing anything. And a lot of texts and emails, but I think that for those of you who've done this, you know that you don't really learn anything until you go. Start in an area where people are keen to help and you've got influence, and don't scale up until you've got it working really well. And make sure people know that you're testing and they can contribute their ideas. Because there's nothing, again, more off-putting to somebody than being presented with something that's a fait accompli. That is the way to shoot yourself completely in the foot with your improvement campaign. We're all familiar with that, I think, the Plan, Do, Study, Act cycle, but very useful model. And Edison saying, I did not fail 1,000 times. I found 1,000 ways how not to make a light bulb. I think the next Reefs film clip might be a bit lost on you. I don't know if there's any Doctor Who films fans in the room, but I was trying to find my other clip, which you might have seen of the guy in Canada cleaning his car from snow, but this is another one about testing your ideas.
We are the Daleks.
These were very scary.
Damn it.
So they might have wanted to take over the world, but they couldn't actually get upstairs, so it was a bit of a problem. So that was, in the latter series, they started to levitate, and then they could go up the stairs. But it was always something, even as a small child, you're looking at it and thinking, what happens if they come to a flight of stairs? So this is just about, classic quality improvement theory, just test it, test it, test it. And this is one of my colleagues, Leslie Jordan, who is the most dogged tester of anything. She will not let an idea go. She will try different things, she will get the metrics, she'll come back to it. And I call her a little terrier, because once she's got the idea by the ankle, she will not let it go. But it's very, very useful in quality improvement. You need somebody like that.
I'm going to interrupt you for just a moment. Can we go back to that slide? So we have in the room with us some of the largest systems in Los Angeles. And I just want to make sure that folks are going to stay to talk about how can we apply these principles to create a system for improvement in Los Angeles. And so I hope you all will stay and hear Lavana's statistics about Los Angeles, and then we'll talk about it.
So just again, we talked a little bit about those process measures, the trying out changes. This is just getting blood pressure observations on one ward. And when they started on floor area, they were at 30 to 40%, and then eventually they got up to 100%, and that rolled out across 18 hospitals, so that they were highly reliable by the end of the project. So, coming to near the end, partnering with patients, and I didn't deliberately leave this to number 8. It's just something I think you have to do this work before you get to a maturity, really, to understand that we don't, or at least I did, we don't get very far unless we truly involve patients in care redesign. And another short, actually I'll skip the film, but there's a very funny film I can show you later with about the importance of telling stories. And I really can't emphasize that enough. Americans in general are very family-oriented, respond to, I would say, against Europeans, really respond to stories, are very emotional, and I think, but yet I don't see it being that used as much as it could be here for effect to engage people, so I think that's really important. And, this is false data, but this is the patient that's going to fall. It's that individual that's going to, harm is going to come to. And as Don Berwick said, help me, don't harm me, be nice to me, which I think is the greatest statement on quality in healthcare. This is me after my second hip replacement, and I wanted people to be aware that the orthopedic surgeons to be thinking about this is what I was aiming for. Sadly, it's not happening, but what was important to me was not, I assumed I was going to be walking okay, I wanted to go back in high heels. Teamwork and communication, working together, multidisciplinary teams, again, so important. We can't do this on our own. It has to be together. Just to give you the slides, but this is really important. Reduction in complications with checklists and team training. If you just did a checklist, it wasn't in any way as effective as getting routine training in. And this IPAS study from Boston Children's Hospital, just using a checklist on medication, probably some of the pharmacists are aware of this, not only reduced errors, but reduced mortality from using a checklist on medication safety. And this is about engaging the whole team. From that C. diff work, this guy was great. He was a cleaner in the hospital. He'd been a cleaner for 15 years, and yet nobody had told him before he could save lives too. And he was one of the most inspirational members of that group. So get everybody's ideas. It's not just about the doctors or the nurses. Get everybody on board. Finally, feedback regularly and celebrate success. Back to the cakes. Americans are usually very good at this. Brits are terrible. So use that. Make people feel it's important that you've achieved change. Feed back to them. Get them sitting around. This is an orthopedic surgeon who was so proud of his improvement in medication safety. Get people enthused, get them showing their results, talking about it, and teaching others. And don't forget, you've got to keep it going. This is Leslie's, my colleague's work on this keeping patients warm after the OR. Really, really hard. I said she was a terrier. This work started in 2009. 2014, she's got it at 95%. Really, really hard work. And for that, actually, she won the National Patient Safety Award in the UK for keeping patients for perioperative care for her work. But that was a lot of dogged filling in the forms, collecting the data. So just in summary, I think if you look at, I came to Kotter's change model quite late in my quality improvement career, but I think it sums it up. Create urgency, create a coalition, vision, strategy, communicate, empower action, get some quick wins, leverage those quick wins to drive your change, and embed in the culture. And some British lessons. This is the Atlanta Olympics. The UK was terrible. We went home with 1 bronze medal. Given that we were ranked second after the US at Rio, that's a massive change. And particularly in cycling, this guy said, we're going to get good, and we're going to do it through these tiny incremental changes from every member of the team. Everybody thinks about something that could be done every day differently. In Rio, the UK took pretty much every single cycling medal. So that small incremental change can make a big difference. And finally, I'm glad to see he's back in the White House. And he's a Trojan. So, this stuff's hard, but if you can keep making those gains, you're measuring, you're showing your teams, you're enthusing them, eventually big things will happen. So thank you so much for your attention, and I'd love to talk afterwards about how, I know that a lot of you are doing some of this already, but if there's any different thoughts about things we could do here in Los Angeles, I'd be delighted to talk and share those ideas. Thank you.